think I hate watching the Eagles play football now.
What?
Yeah.
Man, I didn't expect that. And I don't even know how you have all your years of covering football and the volume you cover football that you have now planted your flag that you hate the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, I don't hate the Eagles because there's so much talent. I mean, my guy N'Kobe Dean's out there, right?
I
And
love them.
there's just a lot of us. Well, actually, there were very few of us that still had the faith, but there were a lot of us that loved him on Saturdays. And so there's a lot of players that I really like. And part of this is I've seen too many Eagles games. I've probably, for a non-Eagles fan, I've probably watched as many as you could watch, other than
Very
the
fair
guy.
statement. I feel the
Right,
same way.
right. And so it's not even the tush push thing, which, if you get into the false start thing with Sirianni, like he's 100% right. Like we just talked about it. Slow motion, everybody looks at their false. I think when your right guard is always cracking the middle of the defensive line and it's always a false start on a tush push, that might be a little bit more of an advantage than a tackle getting out of his stance to
Right.
backpedal a little bit more. I've got a bug in front of me for those watching on YouTube. Um, it's the Hurts halves where he looks like he's not an NFL quarterback. I think it's the battle between the AJ Brown stuff where I understand his frustration, but I'm like, enough is enough, man. Maybe it's because there's so many players on that team that I love, and they seem so boring, and yet they just win all of the time. What I'm saying isn't right. I've just had too much Eagles in my life for the last 3 years. How about that?
It's a fair assessment. I don't negate any of it because I feel like I've turned into a pseudo Eagles fan, which is weird. And I think because people I know who support the fan base, Jalen Hurts being a part of my fraternity. Today is our Founders Day, so happy Founders Day to the brothers of Omega South Fire Incorporated. To really just looking at this
That is
team and
today.
say, yeah, which is weird. Like looking at this team from afar, especially offensively, I don't know what they do well. Like this year's Eagles, when people have this kind of conversation with me, like I don't know if there's one aspect to the Eagles offensive game that I like or support or know what they do. I just, to your point, as you just stated, they beat teams who they're supposed to beat, Tampa, Chiefs, uh, Detroit Lions, and they win. But I
Yeah,
don't,
you're talking about like they beat the teams they're supposed to beat, and then they're also beating all the other headliners too. Like this is
yeah.
what I'm saying is unfair. I just, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a Hertz thing. Maybe it's like this AJ Brown thing that the fan base thinks the media is out to like make the whole thing up. And it's like, dude, AJ and Lurie, like that whole report that they had to talk to each other, where the
Mhm.
receiver had to talk to the owner of the football team and be like, hey, I promise I'm going to stop doing some of this stuff. And I love AJ. There's actually like a lot of teams that I really like. There's guys on the offensive line that I really like, but look, they win. They win every single week. No one should have to apologize for winning, no matter what the style is, because that sport, it's just so hard to sustain any kind of success. I think I've just watched too many games. I've
Well,
watched too
I
many
think
Eagles games.
Well, I think this. I think yesterday's game was relevant because I thought Detroit was going into that game fighting for seeding, and I felt that Eagles were going into that game looking for an identity. And the one thing that popped up the tape was the Eagles defense. And when you talk about Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, and you talk about Zach Braun and all these guys, I'm saying, okay, for the last 2 weeks, they've really put the nails to two really good offenses in the Packers and Lions. And so you're saying, okay, the defense is right where they need to be right before Thanksgiving. They're starting to, shape themselves up to make a legit run. And then offensively, I'm like, ugh, what the hell is this? Like I just can't figure them out. And I don't know why. Is it because the offensive line is a patchwork group dealing with injuries and they're looking older? Or is it because, Jalen Hurts is at one point he looks money good, and another time you're like, man, I don't know what this guy's really doing out there. I don't know, but I think the Eagles right now you can't figure them out. I don't think they have figured themselves out, but they win. So that and I've always said this time after time, and I will continue to say it: winning is the ultimate deodorant. It just is. It may be a redundant statement, but when you win, you get to sweep things underneath the rug and step along and move along, and I think that's what the Eagles are doing.
Then when you expand it out too, where you go, okay, well, in comparison to what in the NFC, they're the one seed today. They have the tiebreaker over the Rams with the
They're
head-to-head
also in a
win.
bad division too. Not to cut you off.
No, it's all right, man. I
Like
asked
the
you to come on.
Cowboys stink, Giants stink. Washington injury, they have injuries all over the place. So they look like, they stick out like a fly in a bowl of milk.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the Rams comeback was incredible, right? The Bucks score being close, they were way more in control of that game. Then the
Facts.
Denver game felt like, hey, the Denver game was kind of related to the Rams game. And then the Giants loss was like, what is up with these guys? Even though I do think there's always like one or two division games every year where the best team just looks
Get
terrible
snagged.
against the worst team. Like
Yeah.
I think that's like a fair thing.